In the depths of the forest, twin brothers Samuel and Nolan live with their mother and their dog Coda. Their mother has taught them that evil has taken over the world and society has collapsed. That's why they're hiding in this house. Symbols are carved into the wood to protect them, and every day they pray together to keep the evil away. If evil touches them, it might force them to do terrible things. The children can't see the evil, only their mother can. But they believe her completely. One morning, a skeleton in the woods suddenly moves and screams, but it's only a dream from their mother. The nightmare jolts her awake, and she leaves the bed, and after a quick prayer, she steps outside. As she touches the grass, she hears something growling nearby. Suddenly, her dead father appears near the stairs and tries to touch her, but she focuses on ignoring him and goes back inside. In the morning, she wakes the children to start the day. Samuel does push-ups to prepare, while we see that Nolan has a bell tied around his ankle. During breakfast, Nolan shares his food with Coda, despite his brother's objection. Afterward, the family prepares to go foraging. Their mother ties a long rope around everyone and they bless it with a prayer, ensuring the rope will keep them safe from evil. They all carry whistles in case they need to call for assistance, and their mother reminds the boys of the key rules. The rope is their lifeline, and they must never let go. The rope is secured to the foundation of the house, a task completed by the children's grandfather to protect his wife. Coda ventures ahead alone, knowing he needs to search for rabbits. The family splits up to cover more ground. Their mother continues to see the evil masquerading as her deceased father, who keeps whispering, "Let them go," but she ignores it. When she spots a picture of her parents on the ground, she picks it up and hangs it on a tree. Samuel discovers a squirrel and takes it down with his slingshot. He also collects bugs and eats a whole frog alive. Nolan climbs a tree to check a bird's nest, but unfortunately, all the eggs have already hatched. When he descends, he spots an egg on the ground and rushes to grab it. However, his rope runs out, stopping him. Eager for better food, Nolan begins to untie the rope knot, only to be interrupted by Samuel, who warns him that the egg could be an evil trap. The brothers start making their way back together while arguing about what occurred. Nolan hears Samuel say, "She loves me more," but Samuel insists he didn't say anything. Still upset, Nolan steps on his brother's rope, causing the knot to come undone. Samuel stumbles and rolls down the hill, injuring his ankle. Nolan blows his whistle while Samuel hears something rustling in the bushes, making him fearful. Noticing Samuel can't move, Nolan decides to remove his rope to reach his twin and help him walk. At that moment, their mother hears the whistle and rushes to find her children. The rope prevents her from going very far, so she removes it as well. Now she can see the evil following her in the form of her deceased mother. Before the creature can reach the children, their mother arrives first and helps them get to Nolan's rope, tying it around the tree for them. The creature appears behind them but can't touch them because of the rope. Their mother remains very anxious, but the kids just stare at her since they can't see the evil. Once the creature leaves, the family returns home, where Coda is already waiting. Their mother, feeling paranoid and holding a knife, makes the twins touch the blessed wood and repeat the prayer. The children comply and nothing occurs, meaning they haven't been touched by evil. Afterward, their mother scolds them for what they did with the ropes and tends to Samuel's ankle. Later, while sitting outside, she sees her mother again. During dinner, their mother decides to share a story. One time, the evil came to her, pretending to be a little girl in need of help because her foot was stuck in a hole. The girl's screaming lasted for many days, and their mother did her best to ignore it. When it finally stopped, she checked on the girl and discovered a dead body instead. Their mother is convinced that it was also a trick to make her think it was real, but she didn't fall for it. She tells the children this so they remember to never let go of the rope, even if it seems like an emergency. Later that night, their mother puts the boys in the cellar. They do this regularly to cleanse their souls and learn how to confront the darkness. Each boy spends an hour there and must share the nightmares they had with the family afterward. The kids then prepare for bed, and Nolan creates another creepy drawing for his wall. He asks Samuel if he saw anything after the rope fell, but neither of them did, which Nolan finds suspicious. He also wonders if their mother would harm them if evil touched them, just like she did with their father and her parents. Samuel dislikes where Nolan's thoughts are leading, insisting that their mother would never lie to them. Their mother is outside when she suddenly hears a voice. It's her deceased husband. This is the first time the evil takes this form, and he begins begging to see the children again, convinced his wife has no plans for the future. She manages to ignore him, even as his voice grows creepier, but on her way back inside, she hesitates when he mentions they'll starve. The next day, their mother and Nolan inspect the plants in their greenhouse, but most of them are dead or unwell. They recently endured a harsh winter that killed their plants and scared off the animals, so food is limited. Nolan begins asking their mother questions about the old world, curious how she can be certain there aren't any survivors. Their mother gives very vague answers and states that this house is their only world now. As days pass, the family continues to consume all their stored food and soon begins to run out. It reaches a point where they must cut just one tomato to share. On nights with a new moon, their mother allows the kids to play an old record, and they all dance together. One evening, their mother is taking a bath when she notices Nolan standing nearby. He doesn't respond when she speaks, indicating he's sleepwalking. Their mother leads him back to his bed and reattaches the bell to his ankle, wondering how it came off. The next day, their mother ventures into the forest alone with her crossbow, hoping to find an animal to hunt. She hears a bird nearby, but when she approaches, she discovers it pecking at Nolan's decayed body. The boy turns to look at her, and their mother hides, reminding herself that it isn't real. When she looks again, the bird is alone. She prepares to shoot the bird, but the illusion of Nolan reappears and startles her, causing her to miss the shot and frighten the bird away. Their mother screams in frustration and has no choice but to gather tree bark for their next meal. During dinner, she keeps seeing her husband outside the window, which reminds her of her lack of a plan. The following day, the family works together to gather more bark and hopefully find sap. Nolan senses something moving behind him, but when he turns around, he sees nothing. Suddenly, something yanks on his rope, and Nolan falls as he is dragged through the forest. Eventually, he realizes the rope is connected to a well where a snake-like creature is doing the pulling. At that moment, he wakes up and realizes he had been dreaming while sleepwalking. He is found by their mother, who angrily brings him inside and makes him touch the blessed wood while reciting the prayer. Then she locks him in the cellar and ignores his requests for a potty break, causing Nolan to wet his pants. Their mother doesn't let him out until he promises that the darkness has gone away. Once Nolan is back in his room, he tells Samuel that they should leave the house. He believes they can outrun the evil by working together, and promises to return for their mother after they find food. Nolan thinks she no longer knows what's best for them, but Samuel refuses to agree. In her room, their mother overhears parts of the conversation and has visions of herself becoming feral. The next day, their mother brings out an old box. She shows the kids her Polaroid camera and explains how it works while displaying pictures of the family. The camera only has one picture left, and she's saving it for a special occasion. Then she makes a significant announcement. If they want to survive, they have no choice but to eat Coda. He's getting old anyway, and they can't feed a dog if they can't feed themselves. Nolan immediately protests and cries, arguing with their mother as he points out that killing family is the true evil. To make it fair, their mother asks Samuel to vote, and he agrees to eat Coda. A heartbroken Nolan runs outside and embraces Coda, determined to protect him. However, their mother takes the dog from his arms and drags him into the greenhouse where she sobs as she thanks him for everything. Their mother prepares to shoot with the crossbow but hesitates. At that moment, Nolan appears behind her, saying it's not real, and cuts her rope. Then he locks the greenhouse door to show her the truth. Their mother immediately panics and starts breaking the windows just as Samuel comes out and jumps on his brother, igniting a fight. As the boys tumble on the grass, the evil takes the form of their mother's face for her. The creature chastises their mother for all the things she did as a child, and promises that she'll make her eat her babies. Unable to cope with this any longer, their mother grabs a shard of broken glass and takes her own life in front of her children. Samuel finally punches Nolan to end the fight and rushes into the greenhouse to tie the rope to his mother. He begins praying for her, but nothing happens. Overcome with guilt, Nolan wraps his mother's rope around himself and returns to the house. He plays the old record to process his grief, while Samuel spends the entire night clinging to his deceased mother. Sometime later, Nolan searches for Coda, but the dog is now afraid of the family and stays in the forest. Samuel is feeling ill from hunger, and Nolan makes tea for him. It seems Samuel hasn't left their mother's room since the incident, claiming he saw Nolan in the woods laughing at him for not saving their mother. Nolan tells Samuel it must have been a dream, but he still agrees to touch the wood and recite the prayer to soothe him. Determined to rescue his brother, Nolan grabs the rope and begins exploring the woods. Since he has all the rope for himself, it's long enough for him to exit the forest and discover an actual road. He's astonished to see such solid ground and begins shouting for help, but no one responds. Later, when Nolan returns home, he's shocked to be approached by a man named Cole. Cole explains that he had been hiking in the area when he heard Nolan's call for help and that he has food in his bag. As he is about to offer a ride in his truck, Samuel comes out and believes Cole is the evil, threatening him with the crossbow. Cole swears he means no harm and steps back, but Samuel shoots him anyway. A bleeding Cole runs into the forest and Nolan follows him, dismissing Samuel's claims that it's a trick. Tracking the bloodstains, he finds Cole on the ground calling 911. Nolan tries to grab the bag, but Cole stops him before succumbing to his wounds. Afterward, Nolan takes the bag home and discovers numerous cans of food, eating until he's satisfied. He attempts to share with Samuel, but Samuel still believes it's a trap from the evil and declines the food. In the middle of the night, the hunger becomes too overwhelming, and Samuel finally gives in, eating some of Cole's provisions. He examines the other items in the bag and finds a wallet containing a picture of Cole with his daughter. There's also a flashlight, which he takes outside to play with the light. Suddenly, Samuel hears a noise and heads to the greenhouse to investigate, noticing something moving inside. He's stunned to see his mother standing there, and he rushes to open the door. But now she's gone, and he can smell the decaying body. Then Samuel hears a voice and spots the girl from the picture behind him. She inquires about her father, and Samuel feigns ignorance, but the girl recognizes her dad's flashlight. Samuel begins to apologize for his error, causing the girl to become frightened, and she runs into the forest. He instantly chases after her, but as she runs in circles, his rope soon becomes tangled in the trees, preventing him from moving forward. Recognizing the girl as evidence that his brother was correct, Samuel decides to remove the rope. Continuing his search, he freezes when he sees the girl climbing a tree with extra arms, revealing that she is indeed the evil. As she moves through the treetops, the girl appears behind Samuel with a contorted body and a long tongue that touches his hand. The tongue snaps and slithers under Samuel's sleeve, making its way to his face and entering his body through his mouth. In the house, Nolan wakes up and realizes his brother is gone. He steps outside and starts tugging on Samuel's rope, only to find the end empty. Suddenly, he hears Samuel calling for him, and Nolan rushes to investigate, only for Samuel to appear behind him and cut his rope. At that moment, Cole's truck turns on its lights, and Nolan sees the evil with Samuel's face, prompting him to sprint back to the house. Hearing noises from upstairs, Nolan heads to Mama's bedroom and finds Samuel sitting on her bed. A strange black substance drips from the roof above Samuel, who doesn't respond to his brother's questions. Nolan grabs his hand and touches the wood while beginning to pray. This causes Samuel to roar and pull out a knife, which he uses to attack his twin. Nolan swiftly dodges the strikes and bolts out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Samuel pushes the bed against the door to block it and plays the old record to listen to music while he uses flames from the fireplace to ignite a fire in the room. He then steps outside to watch the house burn slowly. As the smoke fills the air, Nolan soaks a rag to cover his face and escapes through a window. He slips and nearly falls off the roof, but decides instead to re-enter through a different window. Behind a curtain, he's stunned to find Mama calling for him, but he refuses to believe she's real. Outside, Samuel uses the camera to take a picture of himself with the burning house. Nolan flees from Mama and opens the cellar door. When she nears the edge, he pushes her in and shuts the door. Then he embraces the creature, recalling all the times his mother protected them, filling the cellar with love, as she used to say. The fake Mama's body begins to disintegrate, revealing the creature's true snake-like anatomy. It struggles in Nolan's grip, but he persists, and eventually, his love causes the creature to explode. Sometime later, firefighters and paramedics arrive to rescue the kids via helicopter. As it lifts off, Coda runs after it on the ground. Nolan notices they're heading to a real town and tells Samuel that they're free now, but Samuel merely responds, "She loves me more." Back in the house, the last picture shows a hand resting on Samuel's shoulder. Please like and subscribe for more.